Are you wanting to become not just a good leader, but a great leader? Do you seek to inspire and empower others to really help drive meaningful change and achieve outstanding results? Well, today I want to share with you my top 5 book recommendations. Now note, there's many others as well that I want to share with you too, but in this episode I'm going to share 5 of them, and I'll share with you more books in other episodes in the future. But these books will help guide you on your path to leadership excellence, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. These books are always going to help every single leader at any level that they are today. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas.
Welcome to the Ask Denis episode. This is a freestyle episode where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, experiences, and insights from working with many leaders around the globe. Hey listeners, well today I want to share with you my top 5 book recommendations. And as I said before, these are 5 of many books that I want to share with you as well. But these will guide you to that path of leadership excellence. Now, leadership is a quality that's going to help drive you, individuals, and organizations towards success. As I said before in my opening, it doesn't matter what level you're at. So you could be somebody who's aspiring to be a leader, or you could be someone who is a leader today, and you may be in a very senior role, but it's about going to another level. Now, for some of you, you may possess leadership skills naturally. But you know what? Others can acquire or enhance their leadership abilities through learning and self-improvement. And it's one thing that I keep asking people all the time. How are you keeping yourself on the cutting edge? How are you keeping yourself relevant? And what are you doing to help develop yourself and on your journey to becoming an effective and influential leader? So let's get underway with these books and talk a little bit about what are these books about? Because you see, in these books, the renowned experts in their fields talk about their insights and strategies and inspiration that can actually help you unlock your leadership potential. All right, so the first book that I want to talk about is Start With Why. And it's by a guy called Simon Sinek. And Simon has written a few books, and if you haven't checked him out, do so. He's fantastic. But he starts with his book called Start With Why. And it really sort of goes along the concepts of purpose-driven leadership. There are so many leaders out there that don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it and why they're in that role today. And I think that if we can actually understand the why as a leader, the bigger picture, then it's going to be fantastic for us. But he also says that leaders who inspire others to action focus on the deeper purpose behind their work rather than simply what they do or how they do it. Now, what he does is in the book, he shares inspiring stories and some real-world examples. But Simon Sinek also helps the readers discover their purpose and then to use it to inspire and motivate others. It's a book whereby it actually helps leaders create a vision that will then resonate with themselves, of course, but also with their teams and their organization, which then sort of helps people become a lot more loyal and committed. For a lot of people, they're saying people are walking away from their organization, and when they talk to them in exit interviews or anywhere else, people say the organization or the leader didn't have a strong enough purpose. And so people are looking for that today in particular. So this is a great book for you to check out. So that is Start With Why, and that's by Simon Sinek. The second book that I want to talk to you about is Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Now, this really challenges traditional perceptions of leadership by really starting to think about and emphasize vulnerability and empathy. In fact, there's a great YouTube clip out there about empathy versus sympathy that Brené Brown talks about or actually uses. It's about 3 minutes long. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's a great little YouTube clip. But what she actually thinks about or talks about is she believes that vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation and creativity and meaningful connections. Because if we're honest with ourselves and if we're being vulnerable, we're actually able to then be in that creative space or be innovative with each other or have some very strong connections, as she says. But she also argues that true leadership requires the courage to be vulnerable. And if you can foster a culture of trust and open communication, you could be quite surprised to see where the team actually goes. Now, Brené Brown draws on extensive research, some practical strategies to really cultivate brave leaders. And if you want to check that one out, go ahead and do it. It's really good because it also talks about how they can navigate adversity with resilience. It really offers some valuable insights into the human side of leadership. And it talks about, well, she talks about the importance of being authentic while also having compassion. So that's the second book, Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. The third book is Mindset, and it's by a lady called Dweck. Now, her mindset book explores the power of mindset in leadership. Now, she talks about the differences between a fixed mindset, where individuals believe their abilities are fixed, and a growth mindset, where they believe that in their capacity for development and improvement. Now, she also talks about how the growth mindset can actually foster a love for learning, resilience in the face of challenges, and a willingness to take risks. Now, Dweck argues that the leaders with a growth mindset can inspire their teams to embrace change, overcome obstacles, and continually strive for excellence. And if anyone knows what I do and how I work with people, that's me to a T. I want to help people embrace change, lead that change, but also not only overcome obstacles, but strive for excellence and strive for results and outcomes and things like that. Because I think that we can look for leadership excellence, and that's going to be really important. But if you can have a growth mindset, then leaders can encourage that continuous learning, embrace challenges, and really inspire their teams to reach their full potentials. So there it is. The third book is Mindset by Dweck. The fourth book, wow, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by a guy called John C. Maxwell. John Maxwell, I've actually studied for about 30 years. I remember reading the book about Develop the Leader Within You was one of his first books. I've met the guy, been to his house a couple of times, met him many times. Awesome guy. And it's a real classic, this book, but it really actually provides you that comprehensive guide to leadership principles. Now, he talks about the fundamental laws that really govern effective leadership. And he actually gives some real practical insights and strategies to help you implement them. Now, it goes from things like the law of influence or the law of navigation, which really sort of helps you focus on setting a course for success. But he actually has a whole range, in fact, 21 of these irrefutable laws. And what I really like about this book is that he talks about some engaging anecdote and practical examples and some sort of insights, analysis, and actually helps people along things. But what he understands is that if you can apply these timeless principles in your own leadership journey, that's going to help empower you as a leader. And this is a book that I have read on a regular basis. If you can read this one at least once a year to remind yourself of those 21 irrefutable laws, it's really amazing. In some of the episodes, I've talked about the law of the lid and how for a lot of us, a lot of organizations, they have a lid on them, and that's really based on the leader's skills and capabilities and so forth and experiences. And what John talks about, that if we can raise that lid, we can actually then lift others, and we can actually create a vacuum for everyone else to lift their game as well. So it's an awesome book. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and it's by John C. Maxwell, so check that one out. The fifth book that I want to talk about today is Good to Great. It's by a guy called Jim Collins, and in that book he sort of talks about what sets exceptional companies apart from the average companies or their average counterparts. And he's actually done some research, and they've studied a whole lot of different companies, and that's actually helped them make a leap from going from good to great. And that's over time, right? So it doesn't happen within a 5-minute thing, and it's just not over. It does take time. But what they found through their research was that they could actually understand that there were some key attributes that sort of drive the long-term success, including disciplined people, a disciplined thought, and disciplined action. And so he actually provides a whole lot of different frameworks that actually really are thought-provoking, and for you to actually transform your organization. And a lot of it is about cultivating, once again, a culture of excellence, making some strategic decisions, and actually fostering a sustainable growth. What you'll notice is that a lot of these books are talking about that excellence. They're talking about that culture of excellence, but also you as a leader in developing your excellence. They talked about strategy a lot, right? And so as I've been talking about these books today, great leaders are not born overnight. In fact, you can't just give somebody a blue pill, a green pill, and a red pill and go, ta-da, you're a great leader overnight. It doesn't happen. Because you see, all of us are shaped by the knowledge that we have or the knowledge that we grow, the experiences that we have, and a commitment to continuously grow ourselves. When I mean by experiences, some of you may have worked for a leader that's been a real hard leader or a bad leader, but that's actually shaped you as well, because that's the kind of leader that you know that you don't want to be like. There's leaders that you've actually worked with that have been very great, but that's all of it has actually shaped you as well. But the thing I want to say to you is this, is that what got you here as a leader today to where you are right now is not going to get you where you need to go to in the future. So we have to continuously grow ourselves. And so if you can think about these 5 books that I've shared with you and start to read them, then you're going to get some insights out of them that are going to actually help you be more purpose-driven and have that purpose-driven leadership. It's going to talk to you about vulnerability. It's going to talk to you about growth mindsets and the fundamental leadership laws like John Maxwell talks about. But also it's going to help you with that journey of going from good to great. Now remember this, listeners, is that leadership is it's a lifelong journey. It's a long-term journey. And that the wisdom and the insights and the teachings that these books have are really going to help you unlock your leadership potential. But that's also in turn is going to allow you to inspire others for them to reach their new heights as well. Hey listeners, that's it for this episode. It's always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for joining me on the Leadership is Changing podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.